Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So for today's case I'm going to be talking to you about is the Sian O murder case. So Sian Emma O'Callaghan was born on 3rd of June 1988 and she had died on 19th of March 2011. She was a 22-year-old British woman who had disappeared from Swindon in Wiltshire in England, having last been seen at a nightclub in the town in the early hours of the 19th of March 2011. Her body was found on 24th of March near Affington in Oxfordshire on 19th of October in 2012. At Bristol Crown Court, Christopher Halliwell, aged 48, of Neath in Swindon, had pleaded guilty to O'Callaghan's murder. At 2:52 on 19th of March 2011, O'Callaghan was captured on a CCTV camera, and this was leaving Swindon Suju nightclub to walk 800 metres. This is 0.50 miles, and this was to the flat in Swindon's Old Town area that she had shared with her boyfriend Kevin Reap. Reap sent O'Callaghan a text message at 3:24. The analysis later showed that her mobile phone was in the Savernake Forest area, which is 12 miles away. At the time the message was received was at 9:45. Reap contacted the police and reported O'Callaghan as a missing person. On 20th of March, the police issued their first public appeal for information that announced that they had begun searching the Savernake Forest. They stated that the time that elapsed between O'Callaghan's appearance on the club CCTV and her mobile phone signal, which was 02:52 and 3:24 respectively, meant that the journey from Swindon to the forest could only have been made in a vehicle. On 22nd of March, approximately 400 members of the public joined the police in the search of the forest. The same day, an anonymous donor offered a £20,000 reward for information that would lead to the findings of O'Callaghan. On 23rd of March, the police announced that an analysis of O'Callaghan's mobile phone signal led to the identification of a number of hotspots. These are to be investigated. Detective Superintendent Stephen Fulcher of Wiltshire Police said that the investigation was moving at a very rapid pace, and that significant lines of inquiry were being developed. Members of the public were asked to stand down from the searches on 24th of March. Police made an urgent appeal for witnesses of a green Toyota Avensis with a taxi marking which had been seen between Swindon and Savernake Forest shortly after O'Callaghan's disappearance. An ordnance surveyor map then showed parts of Wiltshire including Swindon and Marlborough. O'Callaghan went missing from Swindon and her body was found near Affington, Savernake Forest. On the afternoon of the 24th of March, the police arrested a 47-year-old taxicab driver, Christopher Halliwell, and this was from Swindon on suspicion of kidnapping. The arrest was made at a Asda supermarket in North Swindon, where a green Toyota Avensis taxi was also seized. Later that same day, O'Callaghan's body was found in a shallow grave that was near Affington, and this was in Oxfordshire. On the 26th of March, the suspect was charged with O'Callaghan's murder. During a news conference on the 26th of March, Fulcher stated the test revealed O'Callaghan's had not been sexually assaulted. On 1st of April, the inquest at Oxford Coroner's Court was told that it was likely O'Callaghan died from some head injuries, though a forensic pathologist from a Home Office had yet to confirm a precise cause of death. O'Callaghan's funeral was held at the Kingstown Crematorium on the 18th of April 2011. On the 31st of May 2012, taxi driver Christopher Halliwell appeared in court at a plea and case management hearing and had pleaded not guilty to the charge of murdering Sian O. On 19th of October 2012, he appeared at Bristol Crown Court and pleaded guilty to a murder. He was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum tariff of 25 years. The Court of Appeal upheld the sentence on 14th of December 2012. Following the guilty plea, it emerged that a second murder charge against Halliwell had been dropped as a result of an error in the police handling of the case. The body of Becky Gordon Edwards, aged 20, a woman who had been reported missing in 2007, was found after Halliwell's arrest. He had led police to the body. Justice Lara Cox ruled that the Halliwells' confessions to killing each of the women was inadmissible as evidence, as Detective Superintendent Stephen Fulcher had breached the guidelines of the Police and Criminal Evidence Act of 1984 by failing to caution Halliwell and denying him access to a solicitor during the period that the confessions were being obtained. On the 23rd of April 2013, an inquest at Oxford Coroner's Court into the death of Gordon Edwards recorded a narrative verdict stating that the cause of her death, believed to have been in the final days of 2002 or early in 2003. It was unascertained, but probably caused unlawfully by a third party. In September 2013, the Independent Police Complaint Commission published the result of an investigation which found that Fulcher had a case to answer for gross misconduct and for breaches of the Police and Criminal Evidence Act and for ignoring the force's orders. In January 2014, he was found guilty of gross misconduct and given a final written warning by a disciplinary tribunal. In May 2014, Fulcher resigned from the Wiltshire Police. Karen Edwards, the mother of Becky Gordon Edwards, commenting, quote, "Had he never followed the guidelines, then Becky would have never been found. She would never have had to come to this equation." On the 31st of March 2016, Christopher Halliwell was charged with the murder of Gordon Edwards before the magistrates in Chippenham in Wiltshire. On the 19th of September 2016, a jury of Bristol Crown Court found him guilty of the murder. After 2 hours of deliberation on the 23rd of September, Justice John Griffith Williams sentenced Halliwell to life in prison with a whole life order for the murder, meaning he would serve his sentence, and this was without the possibility of parole. On the 2nd of September 2019, ITV broadcast the first episode of A Confession, a 6-part drama series based on the case, with Martin Freeman playing Detective Superintendent Fulcher and Joe Absalom playing Halliwell. In September 2022, an investigation by the Independent Office for Police Conduct found that Wiltshire Police had missed significant opportunities between 2011 and 2014. The alleged links to other cases: Sally Ann John before she disappeared in 1995. In the lead detective Stephen Fulcher's 2017 book on the O'Callaghan and Gordon Edwards cases, he wrote that after apprehending Halliwell, he had ordered the reopening of the investigation into the unsolved 1995 disappearance of the prostitute Sally Ann John, believing he may have also murdered her. She was last seen alive on Aylesbury Street in Swindon at 10:45 p.m. on Friday the 8th of September 1995. This was at an area near the town's red light district. She was planning to look for clients that night until it was roughly about midnight. Links were made to Halliwell as both he and the 23-year-old sex worker had lived on Broad Street in Swindon, and Halliwell was known to have been a client of hers. However, soon after Fulcher left the force, Wiltshire police closed the investigation again. The case was subsequently opened again in November 2014, this time as a murder inquiry after the discovery of significant new information. Although it was stated at the stage that the inquiry was not being linked to a new investigation at Halliwell's former home. In 2015, police searched Sally Ann John's last known address, which was in Kimmeridge Close, and this was in Swindon, and days later arrested 3 men aged 52, 50 and 52 respectively, on suspicion of her kidnap and murder. They were subsequently released on bail pending further inquiries. In February 2017, 2 new searches were made at the properties on Broad Street where Halliwell and John had both lived. In March 2017, the Sally Ann John case featured on the BBC TV programme Crime Watch. Detectives stated that they had liaised with the investigations on the Halliwell case, but they were keeping an open mind on press reports claiming he may have been involved. John's mother revealed that her daughter had started to get involved with the wrong people in her late teens and continued to associate with them despite warnings that they had been bad characters. Although shortly before she disappeared, she had planned to try and get away from her life of the sex work. After she vanished, her house had been searched, but nothing was missing that was abnormal. Most importantly, on the programme, it was revealed that several postcards sent weeks after John's disappearance to a friend had been found to have been forged. One was sent from London 3 weeks after she vanished, claiming she was safe and well, and handwriting was conclusively found to have not been John's handwriting, showing that an unidentified person who had purposely forged a message from her. In 2020, the Merseyside police opened an investigation into the unsolved murder of Julie Finlay in 1994 after reports of possible link to Halliwell. By December 2022, no charges had been made. In 2023, a Channel 4 documentary In the Footsteps of Killers suggested a link between Halliwell and the disappearance of Traveline Evans, though this was unproven. Though there was some similarities in the modus operandi in the case. Mrs. Evans was aged 52 and had disappeared from North Wales. Okay, so that was the case of Sian O. Callaghan. So I want to show you something that I had purchased a good couple of weeks ago, and I read all of this book. And this is a book based on one of the murders that Christopher Halliwell had committed. There is also mentions about Sian O. Callaghan as well in here, and also Becky. So this is A Killer's Confession and a Mother's Fight for Truth, which is by Karen Edwards. So this is Becky's mum who had done this book, and this is all about Becky that had disappeared, and this is telling you all about what happened, you know, what the family had endured, you know, like what they was going through, trials, everything that had gone on. I will tell you a bit more about it on the back, what it's all about, but I would really recommend, you know, if someone would purchase this, if they would want to know more in depth about this case. And also other cases that is linked to this case as well, and about Christopher Halliwell. I also have got another book that is based on Christopher Halliwell as well, that I haven't looked into it yet, but I am going to. But yeah, this is a real good book. When I was reading it, I did tear up quite a lot. It's very heartbreaking. The things that they said in there was very difficult, but I am looking to do the case on Becky, so it'll just be focusing on Becky, and it will be like telling you more about some depth out of this book as well. But if you want to read this, I do recommend getting this book. So this is saying a mother's story behind one of the most dramatic true crime cases in recent history. Quote, I have lived every parent's worst nightmare on what would have been my daughter's 29th birthday. Detective Superintendent Stephen Fulcher knocked on the door and told me my beautiful Becky was dead. Found buried in a shallow grave in a remote field, Becky had been brutally murdered. And this is when it comes to it, when he talks about Christopher Hallowell, about disappearances and murders. Like Sian O is in this book as well. But this is Becky and her mum. I really do recommend if you would get this book. I absolutely loved it. Yeah, this is based on the untold story behind ITV's A Confession, like I did mention in it. But I am looking to get some more details out of you and do Becky's case on it, because I feel like it should be said, because it is very sad. But I don't hear much of this on the internet. So this is about when Becky Gordon Edwards was killed. Her mother Karen awoke to the world where the truth was never guaranteed, where taxi driver Christopher Hallowell got away with murder and the police officer who found her daughter was punished instead. That is Stephen Fulcher. This is Karen's story. Despite unimaginable tragedy, her love for her daughter had been unbreakable. From her despair through Becky's troubled teenage years to the agonizing 8 years when Becky went missing, and then the dramatic story of how a killer's confession led to a terrible discovery. The one constant has been Karen's determination to fight for Becky tirelessly, campaigning for the truth about what happened to be heard, and for Hallowell to face the consequences of his evil actions. So yeah, that is one book that I feel people should look into. It is very sad, but it is a good book. It is worth, especially if you do like myself, YouTube videos. There's a lot of details that is in this that can go along onto the YouTube channel. It'll go well for the case. So yeah, this is the case of Sian O. If you want to see more, please like, share, subscribe, and I see you on the next one. Bye bye.